utmost importance topics for the ICSE class 10 board exams, and if it is the long question should not just come out, but still then the 2 marks of the question just carries in the ICSE exam board exam. So just I am going to discuss about the first year of independence 1857. So how it was and how it would likely to be, and what is the importance and also the consequences and the results so far the chapter is concerned about. So the process of British conquest of India and the consolidation of British rule was accompanied by the resentment among the Indians. So first thing just I will say that about. So had the East India Company, just when it returned to India for its sole business, and the sole motive was to doing business in India and not any other things. Sole motive that was, not accompanied by any other things. Because that was the real platform on which the East India Company was trying to be progressive attitudes for their own. But later, afterwards, just how it got away very successfully in attaining or in just getting after the political, economical, just the such powers to grab it consequently and intermittently also. So first the East India Company, how its just role was, just I will describe it. So first its rule was to be just governed by, to establish its trade and also the consolidation of its powers. Establishment of its powers means, so it just wanted to exercise its own powers. It is one the absolute just the powers to handle the Indians just as the puppets. But one thing is that is the conquest of India and consolidation of British rule accompanied with, I think it was greatly a resentment among the Indians because of the British policy of the conquests. Conquest means winning away the territories, winning away the places of the Indian princes and prince, and also jamidars and talukdars. Some of places just are forcibly just being occupied by the East India Company. So it was a great dissatisfaction and it was a great resentment that among the Indians because of this conquest policy of the East India Company. And another thing just I will say that, so hardly you are just past till 1857. So in some part or other part of the country there's going to be a great resentment among the Indians that was going against the British domination of India. But I think it was just a weak policy because only the local people and the local princes and the local jamidars and also the talukdars, so it was localized because those the local leaders, those were participated and just going against also the Britishers and also starting their demonstrations or protests, that was very weak because it was just likely to be just getting scattered out, or it is just in this scattered part that is just isolated because it was not a great. So such rebellions or the protests of the local, that was being just scattered or that was isolated because it did not pose a great threat or serious challenge to the British governments or the Britishers, as they were also not absolutely or also surely just united among themselves and did not have any unity or the themselves, that's why just getting beyond of the Indians or grabbing its own rights, political rights. That's why it is so weak of the local peoples to gather the courage and stand against the Britishers. So that is the, so anyhow, nevertheless, stood it pose is just a traditional threat to the Britishers. Traditional threat means it just for traditional. Traditional threat means somehow it had also established a local tradition of struggle against the foreign. A local tradition of struggle, a way of struggle, the local tradition. Local tradition means as they did have their own the techniques, they did have their also the own policies, and they did have their own also the that is their own the apprehensive and also the scenario on which the local they did have their also the importance. Still they also managed to anyhow to British to give just a traditional that is challenge to the Britishers anyhow. So now, so this is also the culmination of such opposition to the British rule came with the just in the form of the first war of independence just in 1857. Because it just in the form of 1857, just it came this challenge also came in the form of that. Because everybody just stood to that occasion and just fought also very brilliantly against those. And in with millions of peasants, artisans, and also the soldiers participated. So lots of that is millions of the peasants, soldiers, artisans, they also took part in that events. That is 1857. So it shook the British government to its very foundation. It means it shook the solid foundation of the Britishers because it is also making very weak the foundation of the Britishers. So now, just I will today only will just will go for the causes of the first war of India. So what are the real cause of that? So what are the causes of the first war of the independence? So what are the cause was of that? So just we will mark that during the first 100 just the spanning of the gaps 100 that is 1757 the Plashy War. So during that time from to just getting approach to the 1857. So that's long just 100 years being passed by. So this is also the rapid expansion of their dominion. So they are also started the rapid expansion policy. The territory is being expanded very rapidly, very on just in quick succession, and also the combined effect of the British expansion policy and economic exploitation. Another thing, it is not only the expansionist policy of the Britishers, not only but another thing, but also the economical exploitation and the administrative changes which adversely impact. So, so these combined efforts means it is not only the that is the addition of this that is the states or the addition of the territories, not only but the economic exploration, administrative changes which adversely affected. So all the segments, all the sections of the Indian society. So the ruling classes were getting also means dissatisfactions of their own because of the disposed of their own power, because they are also their powers also being tumbled down, their powers were being also collapsed at the hands of the Britishers. The peasants were deprived of their land rights. Yes, peasants also got also just the land rights also being also driven out, and the artisans also lost their life because the artisans those engaged in their works that was also just lost their the livelihood. Another the middle class upper classes also don't got the higher rank of service also they lost out their jobs, and also the salaries also they are also getting from that is welfare just in the succession also they lost their the low paid salaries just they got at last from the higher wages to lower wages. So that was also just the men who just followed the cultural and the religious the religious activity just got out of their jobs because such like the people of the priests and the scholars they lost their incomes. The Indian rulers and the princes and the jamindars then who were themselves also lost their also authority, and the companies just the Indian soldiers were discontented with their low pay and hard life and the ill treatment meted out to them by the British officers. So company the Indian soldiers they were also dissatisfied, just a discontentment just with the Britishers, because they are getting up the low salaries just in spite of their the video just of this first war of independence. So I would like to have just your comments, and also just give my just your recommendation towards it. So I would like, because next video just I will be also getting into you just after your just means just getting this approval of this how just you like to be. So thank you the children, and next watching just I will be successfully, I will be continuously just I will be just squeezing through also different segments part of this. So thank you.